The rule. Gru sat in the dimly lit cantina, the flickering neon lights casting shadows over his scared, leathery skin. He took a swig of his drink, the bitter liquid burning its way down his throat. Across the table, a young rookie sat wide-eyed, his mandibles twitching nervously. "Look, kid," Gru growled, slamming his empty mug on the table. "You're green as Zorak slime, so let me make this real simple. Us Idian mercs, we're the meanest in the galaxy, but we got one rule: no killing humans." The rookie's compound eyes widened in disbelief. "Why? Humans are primitive screw-ups. What's to fear?" Gru chuckled darkly, putting his feet up on the table. "What's to fear? Frackin' everything. See these scars? A human gave me those. Lost most of my unit to one of them in a bloodbath that left purple Idian guts splattered on the walls." The rookie leaned in, his curiosity piqued. "But how? Aren't we packing way heavier firepower?" Gru's eyes narrowed as he took a long drag from his cigar, exhaling a cloud of smoke. "Damn straight we were. But these humans, they just wouldn't die. You'd blast one, he'd get back up. They just kept fighting, no matter how many of their own got cut down or how badly they were shot up. They didn't know how to quit." The rookie was on the edge of his seat, barely breathing. "So, what happened?" Gru leaned back, the memories flooding back as vivid as ever. 20 years back, during the Iridian-Zorak War, the Zoraks hired my unit to guard some shithole mining colony. They were getting slaughtered by the Empire, so they brought in the only species crazy enough to fight for them, humans, and leading them was Carl Bone Crusher Skora, meanest son of a bitch I ever met. The rookie's eyes were saucers. "What did he do?" Gru's gaze turned distant. "He showed me why we don't fracking kill humans. We were pinned down, taking heavy casualties from the Zorak's assault. Then Skora rallies a squad of humans and charges headlong into the firestorm, straight towards our forces, fast as a Zardonian viper, savage as a wounded car beast. And Skora himself, he was a goddamn demon, blasting Iridians left and right with deadly aim." The rookie's mouth fell open. How did any of them survive that? Gru shook his head, grinding the cigar stub under his heel. "They shouldn't have, but they did. And then the damnedest thing happened. One of our nastiest warriors corners one of Skora's men. Poor pink bastard was leaking blood all over, barely standing. The Iridian had his rifle aimed right between the human's eyes, finger on the trigger." Gru paused, his voice dropping to a whisper. "And Carl, that crazy son of a bitch, he just stood there, calm as can be, like he was daring the Iridian to do it. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then, real slow, the Iridian lowered his weapon and said something I never thought I'd hear from one of our kind. 'Go. Take your man and go. But if I see you again, I won't hesitate.' And Carl, he just nodded, picked up his wounded soldier, and walked away." The rookie's eyes were wide with awe. "What? Why would he do that?" Gru's voice was filled with a mixture of admiration and disbelief. "That's the thing, kid. Carl showed us something that day. Showed all of us. Even in the midst of all this blood and death, there's still a choice. And that's why we don't kill humans, because they remind us of that choice. They remind us of our own frackin' humanity, even when we're knee-deep in the shit." Gru sat back, draining the last of his drink. "And that, rookie, is a lesson you'd best not forget. Because out here in the ass end of the galaxy, it's the only thing that'll keep you sane. The only thing that'll keep you from becoming just another murderous cog in the machine." The rookie nodded slowly, a new understanding dawning in his eyes. Gru signaled for another round, the story far from over. But for now, the rookie had heard enough to grasp the weight of the legacy he was inheriting. The legacy of the human who had shown mercy in the midst of merciless slaughter. The legacy of Carl Bone Crusher Skora. The mercenary's tale. Gru leaned back, the dim cantina light glinting off his battle-scarred face as he took another swig of the harsh liquor. The rookie across from him sat in stunned silence, trying to process the incredible tale. That Iridian warrior. Gru continued, his voice a low growl, had the human dead to rights. Rifle raised, finger on the trigger, ready to blast him to atoms. But then, the damnedest thing happened. The rookie leaned forward, mandibles twitching with anticipation. What did he do? Gru chuckled, a dark, knowing sound. Carl just talked to him. Like they were old friends, not mortal enemies in a bloody war. What did he say? Gru shook his head, a wry smile tugging at his lips. Hell if I know. My translator glitched out at the crucial moment. But whatever it was, it worked. The Iridian lowered his rifle, slowly, like it weighed a ton. Then he reached out a hand and helped that wounded human to his feet like he was made of glass. The rookie's eyes widened. Holy shit. You're telling me. Gru grunted. News of that spread through the Iridian ranks like wildfire. Suddenly, the humans weren't just sacks of meat to be blown apart. They were something else, something that made even the most hardened warriors hesitate. Gru took another long pull from his mug, savoring the burn. Of course, the brass didn't like that one bit. Iridian High Command started cracking down, threatening to shoot any warrior caught showing mercy. But it was too late. The seed had been planted. The rookie shook his head in disbelief. So, what happened? Did the humans win? Gru laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Win? The Zorax still fell, but that's not the point. The point is Carl showed me something that day, showed all of us. There's always another way, even in the midst of all this blood and death. And that's why we don't kill humans. Because they remind us of that choice, of our own frackin' humanity. Gru signaled for another round, the story far from over. But for now, the rookie had heard enough to grasp the weight of the legacy he was inheriting. The legacy of the human who had shown mercy in the midst of merciless slaughter. The legacy of Carl Bone Crusher Skora. The turning point. Gru's voice took on a solemn tone as he continued his tale. But here's the real kicker, kid. The Zorax weren't the only ones watching that day. The whole galaxy was paying attention, and what they saw changed everything. The rookie leaned in closer, hanging on every word. What do you mean? Gru's eyes glinted with a mix of pride and sorrow. That moment, when Carl and the Iridian warrior chose mercy over slaughter, it sent ripples through the galaxy. Other species started to take notice. They saw that humans weren't just savage brutes. They were something more, something worth respecting. The rookie's mandibles twitched with curiosity. So, what happened next? Gru sighed, his gaze distant. The war raged on, but things were different. Battles were fought, lives were lost, but there was a shift. An understanding, even if it was just a glimmer. And then, the real turning point came in the final battle. Gru paused, his voice heavy with the weight of memory. The Iridian commander, Croc, faced off against Carl on the battlefield. I thought for sure it was the end for Carl. Croc was a legend, the most ruthless bastard in the whole damned Iridian military. The rookie's breath caught in his throat. What happened? Gru's eyes gleamed with a mixture of admiration and disbelief. Instead of ripping each other to shreds, they talked. Right there, in the middle of the battlefield, with lasers flying and soldiers dying all around them. They just talked. The rookie sat back, stunned. What did they say? Gru drained his mug, slamming it down on the table. Carl spoke first. He told Croc that he'd seen him fight, respected his bravery and loyalty. But then he asked Croc a simple question. Is this what you want your legacy to be? An endless cycle of killing and revenge. Gru's voice softened, a rare note of reverence in his tone. Croc didn't raise his weapon. He just stood there, thinking. And then, slowly, he lowered his rifle and asked Carl what he would have him do. The rookie's eyes were wide with awe. What did Carl say? Gru smiled, a sad, wistful smile. He told Croc to lead his people to a better future, one where Iridians and humans could coexist in peace. It wouldn't be easy, but it was the only way to end the war once and for all. The rookie sat back, trying to process it all. And did it work? Gru nodded slowly. It did. Croc ordered his troops to stand down, and Carl did the same. The battle ended, and with it, the war. But the real victory was in the hearts and minds of the Iridian people. They saw that there was another way, a better way. And that's why we don't kill humans, because they showed us that there's always a choice. The aftermath. Gru leaned back, the weight of his story settling over the rookie like a heavy cloak. The war ended, but the peace that followed was fragile. There were still those who clung to the old ways, who saw the humans as a threat to their power. The rookie nodded, his eyes filled with a newfound understanding. What did they do? Gru's face darkened, his voice a low growl. They tried to undermine the peace, to turn the Iridian people against the humans. But the seeds of change had already been planted. The younger generation, the ones who had seen the war firsthand, they weren't so easily swayed. The rookie leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. So, what happened? Gru sighed, his gaze distant. There were protests, riots even. But for every act of violence, there were 10 acts of compassion. Humans and Iridians working together to rebuild what had been destroyed, to heal the wounds of the past. Gru's voice softened, a note of pride creeping in. And then, the humans did something extraordinary. They shared their technology, their knowledge, even their culture with us. They showed us that true strength comes from cooperation, not conquest. The rookie's eyes widened with admiration. That's incredible. Gru nodded. It was, and it changed everything. The Iridian High Command had no choice but to accept the new reality. They couldn't ignore the will of the people, the desire for a better future. Gru's gaze turned piercing, his voice deadly serious. And that's why we don't kill humans, kid. Because they taught us that there's always another way. They showed us that even in the darkest of times, there's still a light to guide us, and it's up to us to keep that light burning. The legacy. Gru's voice took on a reflective tone as he continued. The humans may be gone, but their legacy lives on. We honor their memory by living the lessons they taught us, by striving to be better, to rise above our baser instincts. The rookie nodded slowly, a newfound respect for the humans evident in his eyes. So, what do we do now? Gru smiled, a sad, wistful smile. We keep fighting, kid. Not with weapons, but with our hearts and minds. We build bridges instead of walls. We seek understanding instead of conflict. We carry forward the legacy of Carl Bonecrusher Skora and all those who fought for a better future. The rookie's eyes gleamed with determination. I understand now. I'll honor the human's memory in my own way. I'll be a warrior, but not just any warrior. I'll be a warrior for peace, for understanding, for a better tomorrow. Gru nodded, a glint of pride shining in his eyes. Then you'll do just fine, kid. Just remember, no matter what happens, no matter how dark things get, we don't kill humans. We honor them, always. The rookie stood, his jaw set with determination. Always, he repeated, the word a sacred oath upon his lips. A new dawn. As the rookie turned to leave the cantina, Gru called after him. Remember, kid, the universe is a big place, full of dangers and challenges. But with the knowledge and wisdom of the humans, you'll be ready to face whatever comes your way. The rookie nodded, a sense of purpose filling him. Thank you, Gru, for everything. Gru smiled, a rare softness in his eyes. Go on, then. Make us proud. The rookie strode out of the cantina, his steps sure and purposeful as he ventured forth into the unknown. The universe stretched out before him, vast and infinite, full of dangers and challenges that would test the very limits of his resolve. But he was ready, armed with the knowledge and wisdom of a species long gone but never forgotten, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The future. Gru watched the rookie go, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. He had seen many come and go, but this one was different. This one understood the true meaning of strength, of honor, of humanity. As Gru sat back in his chair, a sense of peace settled over him. The humans may be gone, but their legacy lived on, and as long as there were those willing to fight for a better future, their memory would never fade. Gru raised his mug in a silent toast to Karl Bonecrusher Skora and all those who had fought for a better tomorrow. Here's to you, old friend. May your legacy live on forever. And with that, Gru took a long, slow drink, savoring the burn of the liquor as he gazed out into the stars. The universe was a big place, full of dangers and challenges, but with the lessons of the humans to guide them, he knew that the Iridians were ready to face whatever came their way. Echoes of the past. The rookie, now a seasoned warrior, stood on the bridge of his ship, gazing out at the stars. The lessons Gru had imparted to him all those years ago had shaped him into a leader, one who valued peace and understanding, as much as strength and courage. The Iridians had come a long way since the war, but the echoes of the past still reverberated through the galaxy. A communication came through, pulling him from his thoughts. Commander Xylo, we've received a distress signal from a nearby colony. They're under attack by rogue Zorgan forces. Xylo's mandibles twitched with determination. Prepare the ship for immediate departure. We can't let them face this threat alone. As the crew sprang into action, Xylo's thoughts drifted back to the stories of Karl Skora and the humans who had shown mercy in the midst of chaos. Their legacy lived on in moments like these, where choices made in the heat of battle could shape the future. The battle begins. The ship emerged from hyperspace to find the colony in flames, Zorgan ships bombarding the surface. Xylo's heart pounded with a mixture of fear and resolve. All units, engage the enemy. Protect the colony at all costs. The battle was fierce, with lasers and explosions lighting up the darkness of space. Xylo's ship weaved through the chaos, targeting the Zorgan vessels with precision. The Iridians had become formidable warriors, but they fought with a purpose beyond mere conquest. Xylo's eyes narrowed as he spotted the Zorgan command ship. Target their command center. If we can take it out, we might be able to end this quickly. The ship's weapons locked onto the target, and Xylo gave the order to fire. The command ship shuddered under the impact, its defenses crumbling. But as they closed in for the final strike, a transmission came through from the Zorgan commander. Iridian ship, this is Commander Crows of the Zorgan Empire. We wish to negotiate a ceasefire. Xylo's hand hovered over the controls, his mind racing. Gru's words echoed in his ears. There's always another way. The negotiation. Xylo took a deep breath and opened a communication channel. Commander Crows, this is Commander Xylo of the Iridian fleet. State your terms. Crow's voice was strained, desperation evident. We are not here by choice. Our leader has gone mad. Driven by a thirst for power, we seek asylum and protection for our people. Xylo's instincts screamed at him to finish the battle, but his heart told him otherwise. Cease all hostilities immediately, and we will consider your request. The Zorgan ships powered down their weapons, and Xylo's crew watched in stunned silence as their enemies surrendered without a fight. The battle was over, but the real challenge was just beginning. The aftermath. The colony lay in ruins, but the Zorgan refugees were grateful for their lives. Xylo met with Commander Crows in a makeshift command center, the weight of their shared history hanging between them. You took a great risk coming here, Xylo said, his voice measured. Why should we trust you? Crow's eyes were filled with remorse. Because we have seen the error of our ways. We were once like you, blinded by hatred and ambition. But now we seek a new path, one that your people have shown is possible. Xylo nodded slowly, the words resonating with the lessons he had learned. Very well. We will help you rebuild, and in return, you will help us protect this galaxy from those who would seek to tear it apart. The agreement was a fragile one, but it was a start. As the days turned into weeks, Iridians and Zorgans worked side by side to repair the damage and build a new future. The legacy continues. Years passed, and the alliance between the Iridians and Zorgans grew stronger. They faced many challenges, but the lessons of the past guided them through. The galaxy was changing, and with it, the Iridian Empire. Tylo stood before a gathering of leaders from across the galaxy, his heart swelling with pride. We stand here today, united not by fear or power, but by the shared belief that there is always another way. The legacy of the humans lives on in us, and it is our duty to honor it by forging a future of peace and understanding. The crowd erupted in applause, their faces filled with hope. Xylo's gaze turned to the stars, where the memory of Carl Bonecrusher Skora and the humans who had changed everything still shone brightly. As the gathering dispersed, Xylo felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Gru, older and more battle-worn, but still filled with the same fire. "You did good, kid," Gru said, a proud smile on his face. "You honored their legacy." Xylo nodded, his heart filled with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you, Gru. Without your stories, your guidance." Gru chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound. "Well, here's to the future then, a future we can be proud of." And with that, they stood together, two warriors who had seen the worst the galaxy had to offer, but had chosen to fight for something better. The legacy of the humans lived on in their hearts, guiding them toward a brighter tomorrow. A new era. The alliance between the Iridians and Zorgans became a beacon of hope in the galaxy. Other species, once divided by centuries of conflict, began to seek out their guidance. The lessons learned from the humans had paved the way for a new era of cooperation and understanding. Xylo and Gru continued to lead their people, their bond growing stronger with each passing year. They shared their stories, their experiences, and their hopes for the future with anyone who would listen. One day, as Xylo stood on the bridge of his ship, he received a transmission from a distant planet. A human colony had been discovered, isolated and forgotten for centuries. The news sent a shockwave through the Alliance, reigniting the hope that the humans were not entirely lost. The return. Xylo and Gru led a delegation to the newly discovered colony, their hearts filled with anticipation. As they landed on the planet's surface, they were greeted by a small group of humans, their faces wary but curious. "Welcome," Xylo said, extending a hand in greeting. "We are the Iridians, and we have come to offer our friendship." The final stand. The Xarn, realizing their defeat was imminent, regrouped for a final, desperate stand on a barren moon. The Alliance prepared for the decisive assault, knowing that victory here would secure peace for generations. Xylo addressed the troops before the battle. "Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for the galaxy. We fight for the ideals that bind us, for the hope of a future free from tyranny. Stand strong, and let our unity be our strength." The battle was fierce, with losses on both sides, but the Alliance's resolve never wavered. They fought with the knowledge that this was their moment, their chance to secure a future where cooperation and understanding triumphed over violence and hatred. Victory and beyond. The Xarn were defeated, their forces scattered, their leader captured. The galaxy breathed a collective sigh of relief as the threat that had loomed so large was finally vanquished. Celebrations erupted across Alliance territories. Xylo and Gru, standing together on the victory platform, looked out over the cheering crowds. "We did it, old friend," Xylo said, his voice choked with emotion. Gru nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yes, we did, and it's just the beginning." With the Xarn threat eliminated, the Alliance turned its focus to rebuilding and strengthening their bonds. The victory had proven the power of unity, and now they sought to ensure that such unity would continue to guide them. A new dawn. The galaxy entered a new era of peace and prosperity. The lessons learned from the humans, the sacrifices made, and the unity forged in the fires of war became the foundation for a brighter future. Stylo and Gru retired from active duty, their roles taken up by a new generation of leaders inspired by their legacy. They became advisors, their wisdom guiding the Alliance through its continued growth and challenges. One day, Stylo received a message from Dr. Morgan. "We found something," she said, her excitement palpable. "A signal from deep space. It's human in origin." The discovery. The Alliance launched an expedition to follow the signal. What they found was beyond their wildest dreams. A hidden human colony, thriving and advanced. The humans who had vanished centuries ago had built a new civilization, waiting for the day they could reunite with their brethren. The reunion was emotional, filled with tears and laughter. The new human leaders shared their stories, their advancements, and their hopes for the future. "We never gave up hope," Dr. Morgan said, her voice filled with emotion. "We knew that one day we would find our way back. United we stand." With the rediscovery of the lost human colony, the Alliance grew stronger than ever. The knowledge and technology shared between the old and new members propelled them to new heights. The galaxy looked on in awe as the Alliance, once a fragile hope, became an unbreakable force for good. Zylo, Gru, and Dr. Morgan stood together, watching as their people mingled, learned, and grew. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but they had proven that unity and understanding could overcome even the greatest of obstacles. Epilogue. The legacy lives on. The stories of Karl Bone Crusher Skora, the merciful warrior, and the Iridians who learned the power of compassion, were passed down through generations. The Alliance continued to thrive, a beacon of hope and progress in the galaxy. And as Zylo and Gru looked out at the stars, they knew that the legacy of the humans and Iridians would live on, guiding future generations toward a brighter, more united future. The human leader, a woman with piercing blue eyes, stepped forward and took Zylo's hand. "I am Dr. Ilara Morgan, and we have much to learn from each other." The reunion was emotional, filled with stories of survival, resilience, and hope. The humans had endured countless hardships, but had never given up on their dreams of a better future. A new beginning. With the humans now part of the Alliance, the galaxy entered a new age of exploration and discovery. Together, they faced challenges and overcame obstacles, their combined strengths forging a path toward a brighter future. Zylo and Gru stood side by side, watching as the first joint Iridian human ship prepared to launch on a mission of peace and exploration. The legacy of Karl Bone Crusher Skora and the humans who had shown mercy in the midst of chaos had come full circle. As the ship ascended into the stars, Zylo felt a sense of fulfillment and hope. The lessons of the past had guided them, and the future was filled with endless possibilities. The legacy of the humans lived on, not just in the hearts of the Iridians, but in the very fabric of the galaxy itself. And with that, the story of the humans and Iridians, once divided by war, now united by a shared vision, continued to unfold, a never-ending tale of hope, resilience, and the power of understanding. Building bridges. Years passed, and the alliance between humans and Iridians flourished. Joint efforts led to groundbreaking discoveries, technological advancements, and cultural exchanges that enriched both species. The galaxy began to see the benefits of cooperation over conflict, with other civilizations seeking to join this unprecedented union. Zylo, now an elder statesman, stood on the observation deck of the Alliance's headquarters, gazing at the bustling activity below. Construction projects were underway, ships were being built, and people of different species mingled and collaborated. It was a sight he had once thought impossible. Gru, though older and slower, remained a steadfast friend and advisor. "Never thought we'd see the day, eh, Zylo?" he grunted, leaning on his cane. Zylo smiled, the lines on his face testament to years of struggle and triumph. "No, Gru, I didn't. But here we are, proof that even the darkest history can lead to a bright future." The call for unity. A new threat emerged on the horizon, a nomadic species known as the Tarn who sought to conquer and plunder the galaxy. They were relentless, their technology advanced, and their tactics brutal. The Alliance knew that their unity would be tested as never before. A council meeting was called, bringing together leaders from the humans, Iridians, and their allies. The room was filled with tension, but also with determination. "Friends, we face a challenge unlike any before," Xylo began, his voice strong. "But we have something the Xarn do not: unity. Together, we can stand against this threat and protect our way of life." Dr. Ilara Morgan, representing the humans, stood beside Xylo. "We have faced darkness before and emerged stronger. The Xarn underestimate us, but they will learn that we are not so easily defeated." The council erupted in agreement, plans were drawn, and preparations made. The Alliance was ready to face the Xarn, their resolve unbreakable. The battle for the galaxy. The Xarn invasion began with devastating attacks on border colonies. The Alliance mobilized, their fleets converging to meet the threat head-on. Xylo and Gru took to the command ship, leading their forces into what would be the most crucial battle of their lives. The skies lit up with the fires of war, ships clashing in a deadly ballet. The Xarn were fierce, but the Alliance fought with a ferocity born of unity and determination. Xylo coordinated attacks, his strategic mind a critical asset. Gru, though now more a symbol than a fighter, inspired the troops with his presence. "Remember why we fight," he roared over the comms. "For our future, for our unity." The turning point came when Dr. Morgan and a team of engineers managed to hack into the Xarn's communication network, causing confusion and chaos among their ranks. The Alliance pressed their advantage, pushing the Xarn back.